In 1893, a Muslim merchant named Dada Abdullah met Mohandas Gandhi. Abdullah had a large shipping business in South Africa, and Abdullah's distant cousin, who lived in Johannesburg, needed a lawyer. Abdullah offered £105 plus travel expenses to him, which he happily accepted. At the age of 23, Gandhi arrived in South Africa, a British colony at the time. Throughout his stay, he encountered racial discrimination and segregation, despite being a respected professional. These encounters had a profound impact on him and strengthened his dedication to combating injustice. In a Durban court, a European magistrate requested that he remove his turban, to which he refused and promptly exited the courtroom. A few days later, while traveling to Pretoria, he was forcibly ejected from a first-class railway compartment and left exposed and contemplative at the Pietermaritzburg rail station. During the remainder of his journey, he was physically assaulted by a white stagecoach driver for refusing to travel on the footboard in order to accommodate a European passenger. Additionally, he was denied access to hotels, designated exclusively for Europeans. These humiliations were a daily occurrence for Indian traders and laborers in Natal, who had grown accustomed to enduring them along with their meager earnings. What set Gandhi apart was not the nature of his experiences, but rather his response to them. Up until that point, he had not been known for assertiveness or aggression. However, as he endured the insults, something within him changed. In hindsight, the journey from Durban to Pretoria became one of the most transformative experiences of his life. It was his moment of truth. From that point forward, he resolved to reject injustice as an inherent or unnatural aspect of South African society, and instead, he would defend his dignity as an Indian and as a human being.
While in Pretoria, Gandhi studied the living conditions of his fellow South Asians in South Africa and endeavored to educate them about their rights and responsibilities. However, he did not have any intention of remaining in South Africa. In fact, by June 1894, as his contractual year was coming to an end, he had returned to Durban and was prepared to set sail for India. During a farewell gathering held in his honor, he happened to come across an article in the Natal Mercury, which revealed that the Natal Legislative Assembly was contemplating a bill that would strip Indians of their voting rights. Gandhi expressed his concern, stating that this was the initial blow to their cause. His hosts admitted their inability to oppose the bill and their lack of knowledge about the colony's politics, and implored him to champion their fight on their behalf. Gandhi actively began to oppose the discriminatory laws imposed on Indians in South Africa. He fought against the unjust pass laws, which required Indians to carry identification documents, subjected them to degrading treatment, and restricted their movements. When he was just 25 years old in July 1894, Gandhi transformed almost immediately into an accomplished political campaigner. In 1894, Gandhi founded the Natal Indian Congress, an organization aimed at addressing the grievances of the Indian community in South Africa. Through this platform, he advocated for the rights of Indians and campaigned against discriminatory legislation. Finally, he brought the discrimination that Queen Victoria perpetrated against her Indian subjects, in one of her own colonies in Africa, to the attention of the outside world. His success as a publicist can be gauged by the editorial commentary on the problems of the Natal Indians, in prestigious publications, like The Times of London and The Statesman and Englishman of Calcutta, now Kolkata. In 1896, Gandhi went to India. He interacted with important figures and convinced them to speak at public gatherings in the major cities of the nation. Unfortunately for him, the European populace in Natal was enraged by inaccurate accounts of his actions and statements. When he arrived in Durban in January 1897, a white mob attacked him and came dangerously close to lynching him. Gandhi refused to pursue legal action against his assailants despite Joseph Chamberlain, the colonial secretary in the British cabinet, calling the government of Natal to bring the guilty individuals to justice. He claimed that he had a principle about not going to court to seek justice for a personal harm. The British victory in the war brought little relief to the Indians in South Africa. The new regime in South Africa was to blossom into a partnership, but only between Boers and Britons. Gandhi saw that, with the exception of a few Christian missionaries and youthful idealists, he had been unable to make a perceptible impression upon the South African Europeans. In 1906 the Transvaal government published a particularly humiliating ordinance for the registration of its Indian population. The Indians held a mass protest meeting at Johannesburg in September 1906, and, under Gandhi's leadership, took a pledge to defy the ordinance if it became law and to suffer all the penalties resulting from their defiance. Thus, satyagraha, devotion to truth, was born, a new technique for righting wrongs through inviting, rather than inflicting, suffering, for resisting adversaries, without rancor and fighting them without violence. In South Africa, a form of non-violent resistance that would later become central to India's independence movement. He organized non-violent protests, strikes, and civil disobedience campaigns against unjust laws, encouraging Indians to resist oppression through non-violence. When Gandhi was leading a peaceful protest, he spoke with a calm but resolute voice. Satyagraha means holding on to the truth, even in the face of oppression. We shall overcome with love and non-violence.
Able to say that the circle of British friends is ever increasing, and it could not be otherwise, as the Satyagraha movement is nothing but a movement for promoting goodwill among those against whom we seem to be fighting. Therefore, I have no misgivings as to the ultimate result.
The struggle in South Africa lasted for more than 7 years. It had its ups and downs, but under Gandhi's leadership, the small Indian minority kept up its resistance against heavy odds. Hundreds of Indians chose to sacrifice their livelihood and liberty rather than submit to laws repugnant to their conscience and self-respect. In the final phase of the movement in 1913, hundreds of Indians, including women, went to jail, and thousands of Indian workers who had struck work in the mines bravely faced imprisonment, flogging, and even shooting. It was a terrible ordeal for the Indians, but it was also the worst possible advertisement for the South African government, which, under pressure from the governments of Britain and India, accepted a compromise negotiated by Gandhi on the one hand and the South African statesman General Jan Christian Smuts on the other. Gandhi decided to leave South Africa in the summer of 1914, just before the outbreak of World War I. He and his family first went to London, where they remained for several months. Finally, they departed England in December, arriving in Bombay in early January 1915. Thanks for watching. If you liked this story, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe and share our channel. Please hit the bell icon to receive notification of our new videos. We love to hear from our viewers, so please comment and let us know how you feel about our stories. Thank you.